Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Akakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us his truth. And salutations to the sincere Akim and Aqua. Listen, may the blessing of election be upon your house. My name is Brother Raquai. I'm back in here with another quick lesson. And for today's lesson is I have the title on the screen. It says "The Man Who Refused 10 Shekels of Silver," and really and truly, what inspired this lesson was this whole interview with Shannon Sharp and Cat Williams, right? And I know a couple of brothers made a couple lessons on this, but I wanted to take this a different turn, right? Instead of actually focusing a lot on what Cat Williams as an individual, I want to focus on a lot of the people he called out, right? As well as people in these different industries, whether it be entertainment, Hollywood, music, sports, so on and so forth, right? These different celebrities in their respective fields, right? And a lot of the things that these people have to do in order to get to that certain status, they have to essentially transgress against the Heavenly Father, right? So there's a clip I actually want to show you first, and then I want to go into the story of what actually inspired this lesson, right? So just bear with me on this. So let me actually get this first preset. Okay, this is First John chapter 3, verse 4. It reads, "Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law," right? So, essentially, this is what sin is, and what our people, especially, what Israelites have to do in these particular fields in order to actually gain some kind of status, gain some more contracts. They have to actually transgress against the Heavenly Father, right? And one of the priests, and he goes into the different list of celebrities, Kevin Hart, Cedric the Entertainer, Steve Harvey, Ludacris, and a lot of them have to do very, break certain, commit certain kinds of lewd acts that Esau wants them to do in order to gain that status and gain that wealth, right? That fame, right? So what I want to do is actually show you a clip to actually back up, what I'm saying as well. Then I'll get to the story, so just bear with me.
They try to suppress you, but that's how they try to categorize
They
you.
can't control me. You get what I'm saying? That I serve. My mom ain't here. My mama was sacrificed.
Me too.
You understand?
Yeah, I'm appreciative.
Michael Jordan, what about him? His daddy, right? Now in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Feels like it might be a lot of that in order to control trauma. They could control Shaq. They could control Charles Barkley. They could control LeBron James. They could control Jay-Z and Beyonce.
But not you.
Send none of y'all Meek Mills, y'all Puffies, y'all Lil Boozy, none of these names, none of these people that have to listen to y'all because they have legal. I never killed nobody.
Right, so he just went off on a list of different people who had to do particular things in order to actually gain more status, get more fame, right? And it goes to show that our people are completely engulfed in darkness, and they don't have scruples, because when they've been destitute of the truth for so long, they don't have a high regard, self-esteem for themselves, right? So they'll do anything for money. There's a proverb that says, riches profit not in a day of wrath, but righteousness delivereth from death, right? So our people don't have that mindset. You don't have that essentially they don't have conduct, scruples, morals, integrity, and that's one of the things that I really wanted to touch on, right? So what I want to do quickly is bring out a quick account of one of David's men, right, during his rulership, who actually strongly exemplified this, the complete opposite of what our people were doing back then, right? So let's get excuse me. Okay, this is Second Samuel chapter 18. I want to start at verse 1, but I want to jump around a little bit. I'm just going to hit the points here and there, right? But I just want to establish the context of the story. So essentially, David gives out the order, King David, right, at the time, gives out the order, okay, my son, he wants his men to have mercy on his son, right? So don't, essentially Absalom tries to usurp, David's authority, right? And, essentially King David essentially wants to have mercy upon him, right? So, he gave his men that order, right? And so that, they're kind of out there, in the wilderness looking for him, right? So, this is verse 1, and it says, I want to read it in the LG. So David mustered the men who were with him and appointed generals and captains to lead them. He sent out troops, 3 groups, placing one under Joab, one under Joab's brother Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, and one under Ittai, the man from Gath. The king told his troops, I am going out with you. But the men objected strongly. No, you must not go, they urged. If they have to turn and run, and even if half of us die, it will make no difference to Absalom's troops. They will be looking only for you. You are worth 10,000 of us, and it is better that you stay here. And it's like it is better that you stay here in the town and send help if we need it. If you think that is the best plan, I'll do it, the king answered. So he stood alongside the gate of the town as the troops marched out in groups of hundreds and of thousands. So here's the key point. The king gave the command to Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, for my sake, deal gently with Absalom. And all the troops heard the king give this order and his commanders, right? So this is very, very important, right? So just keep this in mind. So what I want to do is to jump down. I think I want to jump down to verse 10. Okay, I want to start at verse 9. So during the battle, Absalom happened to come upon some of David's men. He tried to escape and his mule, but as he rode underneath the thick of the branches of a great tree, his hair got caught in the tree. His mule kept going, and he was left him dangling in the air. Right, so it's he's riding, and his hair got caught in a tree, right? And the animal just went like riding off, and he was just left there, left just swinging in midair, essentially, right? So verse 10, one of David's men saw what had happened and told Joab, I saw Absalom dangling from a great tree. And Joab demanded, what? You saw him there and didn't kill him? I would have rewarded you 10 pieces of silver and a hero's belt, right? So in verse 11, okay, this is what it says in the KJV. And Joab sent to his men, and the man told him, and behold, thou sawest him, and why didst thou not smite him there to the ground, right? So remember what I read earlier, right? The king gave out his orders, deal gently with Absalom, right? So just keep this in mind, right? So I'm building up to it, so just bear with me. and I would have given you 10 shekels of silver and a girdle. Verse 12, I would not kill the king's son for even 1,000 pieces of silver. The man replied to Joab, we heard the king say to you and Abishai and Ittai, for my sake, please spare Absalom, right? In the KJV, it says, and the man said to Joab, thou, though I should receive 1,000 shekels of silver, in mine hand, yet I would not put mine hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king charged thee, and Abishai and Ittai, saying, beware that none touch the young man Absalom, right? So, he was, he came across Absalom, and then, Joab was like, you didn't take him out. Why didn't you take him out? But then the man had to check him. I would have, you could, the man, he was in that spirit of, he had a sense of morals, scruples, and integrity, because he's not going to defy the king's orders, right? Just for some money. Because, essentially Joab was like, okay, if you saw him, I would have, rewarded you with all these great things. But the man was like, no, 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 no. This was the king's orders, and he stood by it, right? So, I wanted to bring up this account in particular because it shows that the man, despite being offered, a great deal lump sum of money, he still had a wholesome character. He still had integrity, to abide by the king's words, by King David's words, by his charge, by his command, right? And, our people today don't have these morals, scruples, this kind of conduct. That conduct is sorely lacking and missing in our people, right? So this is one of the reasons what inspired this particular topic. This is First Timothy, chapter 6, verse 5. Okay, I'll read it in the NLT, and it says, these people always cause trouble. Their minds are corrupt, and they have turned their backs on the truth. To them, a show of godliness is just a way to become wealthy. Yet true godliness is contentment. So, let me read that again. True godliness with contentment is itself great wealth, but godliness with contentment is great gain, right? And our people lack godliness, and they equate, having these things as essentially a form of godliness. But as Kanye was pointing out, he even said it himself that okay, his mother was sacrificed, right? And I think it was a couple years ago. I think he was worth like over $1 billion, and the moment he started essentially he had a little bit of a tussle with Adidas over some anti-Sem things he said, and eventually that $1 billion status just went away just like that. Our people have riches, but not riches. They have riches stored up on earth, which is corruptible, and they don't have riches stored up in heaven, right, which is incorruptible, like it says in Matthew chapter 6, right? Verse 7, for we brought nothing into this world, it is certain we can carry nothing out, and that's true. Verse 8, and having food and raiment, let us wherewith be content. And our people are in a state, and they are completely like, they just want more and more and more, and in these particular environments, like in Hollywood, for example, they have to keep transgressing and over and over and over again in order to get more riches, get more fame, and essentially degrade themselves as a people, right? That's why the Lord called us a bunch of a degenerate plant of a strange vine, right? This is why we became a degenerate, because we kept transgressing against the Heavenly Father, right? So let me just get one more. Okay, this is Sirach chapter 30, verse 14, and it reads, better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body, right? So this affliction can also be physical, but our people's affliction it can either be physical, and it can also be with their spirits, with their minds, right? Because our people don't have no ease, they have no rest, they get no sleep. Like the things that these people they have to do. Like I remember my elder, he brought out this point that that singer Katy Perry, she can't even look at herself in the mirrors. Like she has no mirrors in her house or something like that, right? So our people are afflicted in their minds. Another example is actually Kanye as well, because I think after the Adidas situation, he had he went through a divorce, and the mother was keeping him away from his children and stuff like that. So our people are going through a lot of afflictions, right? Because they don't have an understanding of who we are, right? And because of that, they have forgotten their resting place. They have forgotten to actually keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, right? They don't want to do these things. They think it's they rather focus on actually getting those earthly riches, right? Instead of actually trying to get righteousness and mercy in the eyes of the Heavenly Father through His Son, right? So I'm gonna leave it off here. Hopefully this account made the point. Hopefully this video was edifying again. But I'll just close it off here. But before I close, I'd just like to say all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth. Till next time, I say Shalom.